through your freedom.
Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I hope you've got a coffee. I've got mine. I hope you're ready to talk about something very, very important. You know, we don't need to be all off the hook, radical, screaming, wide-eyed, lunatic look going, right? No, we don't need that. What we do need, though, is a very calculating, sober look at the world we live in. Now, I use the title Teetering Toward Madd Maxx. We all know what a teeter-totter is, or also called a seesaw, right? It's that board with a pivot in the center. And, you know, when you're balanced, you can teeter and totter a little bit, but this thing about the teeter-totter breaking, going all the way, you know, and all the momentum just rolls to one side. We're teetering towards breaking with regard to Madd Maxx. And I want to bring up some examples so you can plan accordingly. Again, we're not all John Rambo, and we're not all Chuck Norris, and we're not all superheroes. So we have to plan ahead and think, how are we going to deal with the risks, the threat, and the troubles? And prepping is it. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Right? We can measure that so that this teeter-totter of violence doesn't tilt one way and just crush us, right? We can keep our balance by keeping our heads in the game. Now, over the weekend, an event happened which triggered this with me, triggered the thoughts, triggered the idea. Now, it was last night, the Zoo, Sunday Night Live, and I'll tell you what, I didn't get to this subject because you guys kept me busy, but I want to cover it now. In a supermarket, a grocer, right? A supermarket employee on Staten Island, which is near New York, for those of you who don't know, New York City, an employee there physically attacked Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer, the former mayor of New York City, former federal prosecutor who put John Gotti in prison, the mobster. But he was physically attacked. Who would physically assault a lawyer, especially one like Rudy? Well, this is this teeter-totter of violence that is occurring that's leading to an all-out flip, in my opinion. Now, Rudy Giuliani assaulted, and he was screamed at by this guy. You're an effing scumbag. Okay, there you are. Now, I know a lot of people say F Joe Biden. Not quite as much and not quite as loud as, you know, F Trump, but still, you know, we are rather vociferous in our pronunciations. And some people have even said it, right, in Joe Biden's, you know, presence. Oh my God, how dare you? Well, right, this is occurring right now, folks, this teeter-totter toward violence. I'm not talking left violence or right violence or Republican violence and Democrat violence. I'm talking violence. Though, in my opinion, 99% of the violence is leftist, Democrat, socialist, scumbag side committing the violence. And we've seen this escalation. Now this, like everything else, SHTF, this is not a single event that's going to cause this. It's a process. This process is taking years. It is taking years. We saw years ago with the first heavily publicized fighting in Portland between Antifa and their, shall we say, political rival, the Proud Boys, in their protests and fights and street stuff. Okay, that was kind of the start. And then we saw the assaults moving from Antifa versus Proud Boy to Antifa blocking streets, Antifa smashing car windows and smashing hoods, uh, punching people in cars, destroying property, harassing old people, literally harassing the elderly who can barely walk, right? They're using walkers and they're getting harassed. This has been steadily on the increase. Okay. Now, what else has been happening that is, uh, shall we say, evidence that we can use that we're teetering towards Madd Maxx, where everything just tilts and goes off the hook? Well, celebrity insults and threats. Okay. Now, Trump came along and there was the severed head crap. There was the assassination crap. There were the threats against the Trump family. And it was very much focused on Trump. Okay. Very much focused on Trump. And then, of course, the street action going on in Portland and Seattle. But the celebrities continued to up their rhetoric, right? Up their threats. It was mostly towards Trump. But now it is switched over to, well, Trump supporters, make America great again supporters, right? And now against Supreme Court justices, the threats, including one person who promised that he was there to assassinate Justice Kavanaugh, right, was arrested. I'm surprised, literally surprised, the FBI followed through on that. But these threats are gaining in strength, in severity, and in sincerity, meaning a willingness to go through it. And this includes physically assaulting Rudy Giuliani as evidence it's coming. So politicians have been supporting violent activism, including the President of the United States, Gigi Biden, including the Vice President of the United States, who personally saw to it that violent extremists, arsonists, and murderers, right, were encouraged to continue their riots during 2020. Now, Madd Maxine Waters, Al Sharpton, AOC, and many, 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 many other elected officials, politicians, bureaucrats have been supporting violent activism. Yes, they have. At the same time, these same people condemn Republicans who want freedom and liberty. The violent left have prescribed censorship, silencing opposing voices, not just in Cerveza Bug and Jim Jones Juice Land, but about elections. They silence people from voicing their opinion, right? All the while, they're being allowed and encouraged words of violence and, as they put it, hatred. For example, this weekend, Clarence Thomas, Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, is now being called Uncle Clarence, which is a takeoff of Uncle Tom, which is a anti-conservative or anti-black conservative racial slur, right? I think Justice Thomas will be just fine, but it shows the hypocrisy of the left. Now, we've got social whiners, and they're triggered by the slightest tweet or comment from anyone who is a, well, freedom-minded, Constitution-loving, red-blooded, patriotic American. And anything we say triggers what they call a microaggression. The smallest thing you do is considered a physical attack because it hurts their little brains. And then they respond with real aggressions, just like this idiot at the supermarket who physically assaulted Rudy Giuliani, called him names. So there's a big difference, folks, between going, that person's an a-hole, and actually saying it. Then, right, and you could say, well, you could say it because it actually affects you. This male physical worker What did he have to do with the recent Supreme Court decision? Well, nothing. What did he have to do with anything really lately? Not a lot. So why was he attacked? Because he was recognized. The person is having a huge mental crisis. And it was a chance for them to virtue signal to everyone else, a chance for them to act in a way that they think is meaningful in their lives. But they're acting in a meaningful way with violence, not intelligent discourse, intelligent thought, intelligent debate. No, they are about violence. That's why the raised fist is their symbol in their iconography. These people are violent, they're dangerous, and we're getting to that tipping point where once it becomes acceptable for them to commit violence, once it's acceptable, it continues to tilt that way. Then we get into Madd Maxx, Purge, vigilante, shall we say, political appeal. And of course, the recent poll that came out just last month showing that almost half of young Democrats believe assassination of political opponents is completely acceptable. Not targeting and doxing and trying to cancel, but death, folks. Assassination to them is acceptable if used on their political opponents. John, you're so crazy. For years you said that things are bad. Well, yeah, they're definitely bad. They're definitely getting worse. They're not only putting their opinions out there, they're saying it and they're backing it up with violent action. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Are you prepared with a plan? Are you keeping up with what's happening and the rapid escalation that is coming in this world? Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Go to thepreparedmind.club and get what you need there. Whether it's long-term food and water, whether it's self-defense issues or communication or body armor, which I think is going to become a bigger deal as more of these wackos, folks, start lashing out. You may not even know you're the subject of an attack until it's too late. I wish you well. Godspeed. God bless America. And Semper Fi, which means always faithful to God, country, the American way, our Constitution. We need our country restored. And these leftist wackos, they really don't. So get prepared, folks.